Formula 1 returns to Hungary for round 13 of the 2020 season, nearing the end now of the European segment of the season, with only Russia as the final European race yet to go. In the Hungary ring, always been known as Monaco without the barriers, as it is very difficult to overtake here, apart from down the start finish straight and in the run from turn 2 to turn 3, which could give you many of the teams a headache on setup. Do they go for a high downforce to maximise pace through the corners, or do they go for a little bit lesser drag to maximise speed down the straight line to try and make some overtakes? Red Bull though look to have found a good balance, with Verstappen and Albon finally looking truly competitive in their Red Bull car, with both drivers comfortably inside the top 5 in all 3 practice sessions, and Verstappen even thinking he could take pole. Renault though weren't expecting too much of a good weekend, the slow speed nature of this track not playing to the strengths of the Renault car, and the French outfit is still yet to find their first victory of 2020. Alfa Romeo, it was much the same story as Renault, with neither K-Mag or Josh Tiro anywhere near troubling the top of the timesheets behind both of the Red Bulls and the Toyotas, looking to solidify their place ahead of Renault in the Constructors this weekend. Hey guys, Renault here, welcome back to Formula 1, here for the Hungary ring, where we can get a first look here at the starting grid, and as you can see, unsurprisingly, there's a Toyota on pole position. Now we have a look there, Pierre Gasly starting 10th place in the AlphaTauri. He was showing some good pace there in qualifying. He was slowly improving throughout the season, but still last place in the Constructors. And from last place in the Constructors to last place on the grid. Lance Stroll, the Canadian's got a lot of work to do, especially around this track, to try and make it some places to get anywhere close to the top 12. Because Aston Martin are just holding on to that battle with McLaren and Ferrari for a high place in the Constructors Championship. Now we come onto the formation lap. You're seeing here all the cars starting to get away. And you see it's Hamilton starting on pole position and takes the 3 points to go with it. And it's a Toyota front row with Massachusetts in second and Max Verstappen in third. K-Mag starts fourth for Alfa Romeo, ahead of the lead run of Hulkenberg in fifth and Albon in sixth in the second Red Bull. Johnny Van starts from seventh in the second of the Renaults, ahead then of Max Verstappen in the second of the Red Bulls, with Schumacher and Gasly rounding off the top 10. Kvyat starts from 11th on the medium tyres as everyone else outside the top 10, ahead then of Norris and Vettel. Nicholas Latifi in 14th in the second of the Williams Hondas, ahead then of George Russell in the second of the Mercedes. Rio Haryanto starts from 16th in McLaren, ahead of Charles Leclerc at a poor qualifying start for 17th. They did qualify the Aston Martin though of Sergio Perez. Sergio Santacana starts from P19 in the second of the AlphaTauris. As you saw on the grid, Lance Stroll brings it up to the grid in P20, with everyone else outside the top 10 starting on their mediums, so they'll be looking to go longer and maybe even do one less stop than the cars in front of them in the race. Now looking back at us, we're actually starting in second place. There's something went a bit wrong there with the qualifying graphics, so we're in P2, Massachusetts in P3. Actually, that actually worked out really well for us. We've got some good one-lap pace, but now can we actually get some good race pace now out of this Alfa Romeo car, as we come now to the 5 red lights for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Right side away we go. Pretty sure hold actually. We've got Verstappen who's actually got a blinding start. We've got a load of wheel spin on the dirty line. Now we've Verstappen making 3 1 now. Actually, he's cleared us now. We've got the Toyota 1 2. Verstappen going to go for a dive on the inside line. Now he good moves aggressively there back onto the racing line. Oh, we've been sandwiched there. We've been stuck on the inside line. We've got one of the runners on our teammate K-Mag getting past us there now as well. They keep it side by side though with one of the Red Bulls there on corner exit. Concentrating on is Albon. I think it might be Albon there fighting away now on the inside line. He's keeping it side by side. Still going to squeeze us a long way here around the outside line. Which I tend to see inside there for the next corner though. Now we can return the favour trying to squeeze the tyre out while she keeps it on the curbing. Have to give him a little bit of space, have to give him a little bit of racing room. Getting side by side, he has to back out. We've got the sweeping line there around the outside line. And managed to keep it ahead there of the tyre driver, but Albon they're looking for a good line on the inside. The Red Bull typically is always very pointed there. They go on the Williams, they're looking for a move for the inside line of Alex Albon now into the chicane. We're going to block off the tyre driver there from trying to make a move on us. It's like Albon still going side by side with that Williams. The thing he's just about they're going to manage to keep that position as they come through the twisting part now of the second sector. Albon just does indeed keep it in front there of Mick Schumacher. I mean, the Williams car, it has been slowly improving, of course, both of those cars with Honda engines, so there's going to be some internal bragging rights there. I mean, Honda do have a 20% stake in the Red Bull team, and Williams only have a customer engine deal, so, I mean, the engines are the same. They're probably going to keep a few tricks for Red Bull, but if Williams wanted to do the better job, then they've definitely got the drivers to do it in terms of Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. Then again, Red Bull aren't slouching with their driver lineup either. At the end of lap 1, it's a Toyota 1-2, which is becoming a very familiar sight this season. We've got Hamilton there leading the way. Every team in Massachusetts, and that's exactly what Toast need. They've not had they've had a good run of form recently, but Alfa Romeo and ourselves has been starting to come back at them, so they need to start building away here. And this track, I wouldn't even think would really favour them that much, because they haven't got the best aero in the world, but the engine power is just so great, things just able to power them away and give them enough of the advantage they need. You've got the Red Bull there, which is looking very improved. I mean, the Red Bull, they were known for the first half of the season, but like Verstappen and Albon now finally getting somewhere with that Red Bull car now. And looking at another fellow Honda-powered car with the AlphaTauri here of Pierre Gasly. I have no idea how he got in 10th place and what is the car in last place in the Constructors' Championship. And you've got the Williams are going for a dive on the inside, going to keep himself outside. Gasly's going to keep himself there, gets the line on the corner exit, and he's just able to keep himself in front there of that Williams, but Williams going to still try to stick around the outside line. Around the second last corner now, going to keep it around there. They attempt to the inside line for the final corner though. Still keeping it side by side now with the Williams then, going for a dive. Massive dive there, he'll be inside, keeping his outside. I can't even tell which one. I think this might actually be things Nicholas Latifi there. I mean, Latifi has been a bit of a human highlight reel so far this season. Plus no DRS yet, we're going to inside this lap and goes down on soft tyres compared to the mediums here with the Williams. The Williams should go into three-way, got one of the McLarens going on inside, trying to make a double overtake there and move both of them. Got Norris keeping his side by side there with the inside line, and the Williams pulls it through. Gasly gets squeezed out onto the cabs. Still keeping his side by side now with the McLaren. Can Gasly try and do something on the soft tyres? Can he keep it through on the inside line? He's side by side still with the McLaren of Lando Norris. And also just about going to get squeezed out easy because he gives him enough space, but Norris keeps the nose in, just somehow finds the gap. There's a great curve come there, just as everyone just completely runs over the camera, and Gasly just about keeps in the place there. But Gasly somehow got through into Q3. That's the start on a set of soft tyres, which in the race is probably going to send him just further and further backwards. But now we've actually got a car thing. Oh no! One of the cars going slowly. Is that Nicholas Latifi? Oh, Latifi's spinning. He's had such a good season. And literally, every time a camera cuts from a Williams, he's overtaking someone. But then when it cuts him now, unfortunately, I was pulling off of the track. And actually caused a safety car for Latifi's retirement. Although it's going to be too early to make a pit stop. I mean, a few cars might try it. We've still got to wait to catch a safety car. And actually, a few cars are trying it. Because the Toyotas, they're actually going to double stack. They're committing to this change of strategy. I mean, the soft tyres do go off pretty quickly, but it wasn't going to be around lap 8, 9, maybe even 10, depending if your tyre was pretty good. But now we've all got to do it now. There's no point staying out for a few extra laps now, because we're just going to end up at the back of it. Everyone now is going to end up having to double stack. And that includes us. We're going to have to double stack now behind K-Mag. This might cause a little bit of a blocked pit lane, though. No, yeah, we're going to have to wait in the queue now for K-Mag to get his next set of tyres on. Can't quite see what tyres on. It's the Alpha crew blocking. I think he's on a set of mediums there. Couldn't quite tell. And now we can finally get now into the pit box. And now we also go now onto a set of the medium compound tyres. And this is going to cause a massive shield because everyone who started on mediums is now going to be at the front of this queue because we're all stuck on the safety car. And of course, I mean, you lose less time on the safety car. But now, everyone from 11th, who was 11th downwards, is now going to be filling the first 10 spots now. Well, 9 if you take Latifi out of the race, but the first 9 spots. And now we've got Lando Norris, who just trying to make a double overtake, now leads the Grand Prix ahead of the 2 Mercedes, who have been this high up since last season. You've got Kvyat there ahead of Russell, then you've got the 2 Ferraris as well, Vettel ahead of his teammate Charles Leclerc, followed then by the other McLaren of Rio Haryanto. And the lead of the Aston Martins there, Sergio Perez. So all the midfield teams suddenly find themselves in all of the top places, all the right places, on the right track as well. You can't overtake on this track. Although you got one of the very amazing looking Toyotas is somehow still ahead there of Sergio's safety camera. And then you've got Lance Stroll in the other of the Aston Martins. So only Hamilton's managed to split some of the midfield and back market cars. And he's got a bit of a gap there to Hulk and then to K-Mag as well. We've all managed to come out there ahead still of Max Verstappen. So Red Bull lost out there on the pit stop. I mean, it is all about where you pit up space. And if you get blocked in, then there's not really a whole lot you can do there. And you've got the sole remaining Williams of Mick Schumacher. Ahead then of 2017 Drivers' World Champion Jean-Eric Vergne. Followed then by ourselves, and we lost out massively. In that pit stop, we somehow come out ahead of Pierre Gasly. Of course, Gasly would have had to stop as well. So that's put him pretty much where the AlphaTauri would have ended up probably finishing this race if it was on a normal track. And then we've got Alex Albon all the way now at the back on a set of hard tyres. So maybe, because they're always going to get stuck in the queue cars, maybe Albon looking to go to the end of the race. I mean, there's 28 laps. I mean, it's possible, but 28 laps on a set of hard tyres, Albon's going to need a madness with that tyre, with the tyre management if he wants to have any chance of keeping them tyres to the end of the race. And now me right behind Jean-Eric Vergne, just like it was for the championship battle back in 2017, which went the way of the Frenchman. Although we retired from the last race of 2017 season, but Vergne was going to win it anyway, so he would have took the championship regardless of where we finish. Around the final corner, back to green flag racing. You can't overtake until you get to the start-finish line, but not that really matters because we're not going to make an overtake down the start-finish line on this opening lap back racing. It's Lando Norris who leads the way back to the green flag running. The Brit leading the Grand Prix, I think maybe even for the first time in his career as well. You've got Daniel Kvyat, who's got plenty of experience of leading Grand Prix, and the Mercedes so far this season has been a better car than the McLaren, so the Mercedes could even be staring down their first victory of this 2020 season. I mean, their DAS system, I mean, when it works, it works. I mean, if they can, you can see how much Kvyat's now pressuring the back of Lando Norris. And you've got the two Ferraris there just behind Kvyat though, all over the back line. Everyone in this top 5, well actually anyone in this, without this race going, anyone on the grid has a chance of a race win as things stand at the moment. You see that Mercedes though, you say it's just a little bit more planted than what the McLaren is, but the McLaren has a track position and is actually pulling away a little bit because the Merc came into the season thinking they still have a front running car. So it's not going to be built to work all that well in the dirty air of the cars behind, so it might be stuck behind the McLaren there for a while. But talking about being stuck behind cars, I mean, I've got Lawrence Stroll doing the wingman job for Sergio Perez a bit further up the road. So we've got our teammate K-Mag right behind the back of the Canadian in chicane. You're going to go for a move. He's going to go 3 wide. You're going to go Verstappen. They're going for a move. A massive dive on the inside line of K-Mag. You know, Verstappen, he's never going to give him an opportunity. And I mean, that wasn't even an opportunity. He just managed to somehow create one. So looking at outside with K-Mag. K-Mag ran the outside line. K-Mag also had a set there of hard tyres. So he's going to the end of the race, potentially on that set of tyres, keeping side by side still. Verstappen there with the inside line, also on hard. So Red Bull and K-Mag looking to go there to the end of the race, it seems. And Verstappen has to go defensive there from Matsushita behind in the Toyota because he got held up in the double stack, so that lost him a little bit of time. And now that's allowed Lawrence Stroll to pull away a little bit, but given the pace of all the cars behind him, give him about another lap or two, and this entire queue of cars is going to be right up the gearbox of the Canadian once again. He's going to be Stroll's going to be requesting more mirrors at his next pit stop this way. You've got Verstappen, K-Mag, Matsushita, Shumi, everyone else behind him as well. And now you've got the Toyota with a massive straight line speed advantage trying to look around the outside line of the K-Mag down into turn 1 and trying to move around the outside line. You can keep it side by side still with our teammate on corner rigs. You've got the racing line though, which then tends to the inside though for the next corner. And Matsushita once again with DRS as well. I mean, they've both got DRS, but there's just, you can see there, there's a visual representation of the engine power advantage that Toyota have in this season. And now yes, slot in next place, and now we've got Shumi behind. Because all these cars are medium tyres though, they will all have to pit again before the end of the race. So if K-Mag can hold them up enough now, without losing too much time himself, then he still could be off a very good result coming in. So we're on a set of mediums, we're going to stop again, and Jean-Luc Verne was made on a set of soft tyres. So the Frenchman is definitely stopping again, so he's going for the undercut, going to try and get a free air later in the race. And we've got a whole load of moves there going up in front there once again. And you've got Gasly there still right up behind us. We're not quite close to take me this one. You've got Verne going slowly on the apex there, as you've got Shumi there trying to do battle with Lars Stroll. And Stroll just managed to hold on. Our teammate there, Kevin Magnussen, managed to make the move through now, finally make a way past the Canadian. And we've got Verne there slow on the racing line. We're trying to look for way on the outside line, but Verne just got that line covered. He's got the extra traction still. With the soft tyres, the soft tyres, the time he's been on now, if he wasn't for the safety car, he'd be coming in for his next stop race. So he's probably going to be in another 2 or 3 laps maybe that Verne will be coming in for his next stop. Probably going to a set, probably have the hard tyres to go for 20 laps to the end of the race. But I don't think you can get 20 laps out of mediums. So Renault really not fancying their tyre too much to stick Verne on a set of hard tyres to go to the race. In Red Bull, they've always been a car that's typically good on their tyres, even if the car isn't the best overall. So them going on hards does make sense. So we got a whole wall through the S section. It is all about your flow, and we're getting a load of the dirty air in the Alfa Romeo, which like the Renault is now more of a front running car. So the further up the grid you go, the worse your car is in dirty air. So that is one bad point about having a bad car. But again, if you got a good car, you're usually at the front anyway. You're not usually battling in 17th and 16th places. We're going to pinch Verne to the face once again, trying to look for a way around the outside line. We still can't manage to make a way through now. Verne actually comes into the pits. Actually, it's a good job that we weren't going side by side there with trying to go around that corner. Otherwise, we'd be going in the pit lane with him, and not by choice. Now Verne going to go into a set of hard tyres, I'd imagine. He's got the clean air, and he's going to be pushing now to try and get a effective undercut on all the cars around him. So like everyone else on the set of mediums, so like me and everyone else who hasn't stopped yet, the cars up in front as well. And then the Renault is a lot faster car than all the cars that are currently in the top 10, apart from Toyota and that. So this strategy could work out for Renault and Jean-Luc Verne. It's a very unorthodox strategy. But unorthodox strategies, they always have their day. Maybe today's the day for that one to work. Now they're on to lap 15, all over the back still. I've launched over Stroll, he's done 15 laps on a set of medium tyres. So you know what? I'm pretty sure Verne can get in the race, and it's only 5 laps longer, and with a lighter car as well. So you can show enough for way around the outside. I'm not sure whether it will be way enough if Stroll's going to come into the pit lane, which he doesn't, so Stroll's staying up for another lap. The Aston Martin, it's not the best car through the corners, hasn't got the greatest chassis in the world, given it's just a repainted what Haas would have had for this year, with a Merc engine somehow shoved into the back of it, and we can pull these Alano. Got some good Ferrari power though. Well, these Alano, they move stay there, so you can try making it back into the braking zone. No, we still keep it side by side with him. And Stroll's going to try to keep it there around the outside line. I mean, Stroll, we know from last season back when he was in the Haas how good he is at defending, but he's still not able to do anything there, and we managed to pull ahead of the Canadian. And we're up now into P15, so still nowhere near the points. And we've got Shimmy right in front of us, and the Williams, like I said, it's an improving car, but it's still nowhere near as good on normal circumstances as what this Alfa Romeo is. This track is a bit of a bogey track for ourselves and for the Renault team as well. We've seen with the Red Bulls and that getting up into the mix as well, and then Red Bull, they really haven't been anywhere so far this first part of the season either. Now looking up front, but Lando Norris is still leading the Grand Prix, but now then he's going to finally relinquish that lead now to fellow Brit Lewis Hamilton. And this is actually a move for position as well, because they've both got one more stop to make. I think Hamilton's on a set of mediums as well, so it depends. How much can a McLaren with fresher tyres, if it is, how much faster is it going to be than a Toyota on old tyres, which is the fastest car on the grid at this point in the season? Although it's a set of hard tyres, so imagine the McLaren not have any medium tyres left. I'm guessing they didn't, so actually that might have just swung it back now towards Toyota no matter what happens. I'm pretty sure McLaren on new hards is still going to be slower than a Toyota on used mediums. And he'll come out there just behind the AlphaTauri there, Pierre Gasly as well. He's still got to make another stop yet in this race as well, so that definitely has ruined any chance for no take there, I think. And we've got Russell there, just managed to hold off still from the Ferraris. Actually, now the Ferraris are going to start getting side by side now further behind. I mean, all these midfield cars, which we haven't actually really seen much of the Ferraris or the Mercs this year. They're not being anywhere near where they should be, and they're still keeping it side by side with Charles Leclerc. And you've got the future of the Ferrari going against the present on the 2015, where the driver who won the 2015 championship with them, but he has to relinquish there to Charles Leclerc. I don't think there's team orders there involved. They just like Leclerc has the better pace at the moment. And looking now onto Lewis Hamilton now, the race leader, coming in now for what should be his final stop of the race as well. This is where time will tell. If at all, does Lando Norris have an undercut opportunity? Can he try and make a move now as one of the Red Bulls goes through to lead of the race? It's Verstappen there that leads the way now then from Massachusetts, because now at this point in the race, Toyota's on a double stack. And it's a good start there from the Toyota pit crew, all the runners there just going on. So you know, one of the runners, I mean, Hulkenberg, he's been there. He could have won a few races here if things had gone his way. But the Renault is still just about there. Just hanging on. We've got Shimi there, the sole remaining Williams in this race as well. We're having a good job. Well, it's not going to be. No, he's not going to be defending his championship this season. He's still having good outing in a pretty decent Williams car. And he's going to come out there ahead, crucially, of one of the Aston Martins on a set of hard tyres, which are going to the end of the race as well. So, yeah, that shows you can get to the end of the race on a set of hards. But you're going to be going so slowly. I don't really know if it's worth it or not. And until last 22, we've still not made our final stop yet. We're still out here on that set of meters. We're running all over the place. So using what tyre life these tyres have left. Going to be pushing now. We're going to be boxing now. At the end of this lap, you know, a teammate came out in front of us and came out on the hard tyres, of course, is going, well, attempting to go to the end of the race, currently in a podium position, which, I mean, if you told Alfa Romeo they're going to get a podium with one of their drivers from this race, they'd have taken it, because we really weren't fancying our chances, and we've seen so far the pace isn't too great for our car. So came out though, he's got that consistency, he's putting in those laps. And then we come now in for our final pit stop of the race, going to be in front of the set of the medium tyres. I mean, I was considering a set of softs, but given they only go about 3 corners before going off, and I'm going to need some tyres to get me to the end of the race. It makes the most sense to go out on the set of the mediums. Although I'm going to have a lot of overtaking to do though. As we come back out now though, onto the track. And with this being a hard track to take on, something I forgot to mention in the intro, this is also a wild cards points race. So every driver, no matter where they finish, is going to get some points for their effort. So Latifi, he gets 1 point still from this race. But it's Verstappen though that leads the way in the Red Bull, ahead then of our teammate Kevin Magnussen in second place, both of them on hard tyres trying to get to the end of this race. Kevin they've still got, well, he's a bit of a no man's land at the minute, although I'm sure Hamilton's going to have something to say about that. The championship leader there on a set of medium tyres going to the end of the race. Well, I mean, everyone, whatever tyres are on now, are either going or trying to go to the end of the race. You've got Albon there. So Red Bull really have found some form this weekend. They've tried really gelling with their car. And you've got Lando Norris there on the set of hards going to the race. Well, you've got a massive shooter there right behind him. The Japanese driver making a move coming down into the middle section of the lap. No, not quite close enough there to make a move. Even with that, the superior Toyota power from the back of that Toyota Haskell. Then we've got the two Mercs still going at it once again. We've got Russell there still. Russell's been shadowing Daniel Kvyat all race long. He exploded onto the scene last year, almost winning his debut race. I mean, the Merc hasn't really been anywhere this year, but still, the first person you always compare to is his teammate, so Russell are having a good race. And you've got Sergio Sette Camera, we haven't really seen much of him in this race either. And we've got another Honda Power car behind him, the sole remaining Williams of Mick Schumacher, followed then by Ria Haryanto in the second of the two McLarens, followed then by ourselves. This is how far down the order that we've dropped after our stop. Then we've got the Aston Martin F. Perez ahead then of Pierre Gasly, who really didn't need to get into Q3. Getting into Q3 really has ruined his race. And Jean-Eric Verne is, I don't even know why he's back here. He's got some sort of car issue. There's no way he should be this far back. And then we've got Stroll, and once again, in a little bit of a no man's land there of his own. The Aston Martin really not working around this track. And now further on, looking at five-time world champion Sebastian Vettel there in the Ferrari. He's got a fellow German and world champion up behind him, Mick Schumacher. And Vettel defends, but Schumacher's going to get to the line, use that good Honda power and the fresher tyres and the grippy tyres as well, and the DRS of course as well. Try to make a move on the inside line of Sebastian Vettel keeping his side side with his fellow countrymen. Now going to be the battle of national pride here, and he's got it, and that was a no contest out on the corner with DRS as well, able to pull away. Now I don't think it's a double DRS though, so Shimi still somehow just about managed to be behind. That's actually really smart from Shimi. He parks it there, gets the DRS again, and now he's doing it once, now he's going to try to move on the other side. He's then going to wait, he's going to give the inside line, going to give for a dive on the inside line of Charles Leclerc, and Charles Leclerc's not really a driver, he can make a dive on the inside line of that easily. Still keeps outside, just showing the grip advantage with these fresher tyres, and the Williams car working well this weekend. He's going to drive clean out the outside line of the Ferrari. It doesn't just show how far back the red cars have gone, even from the end of last year. I mean, they had a good car. I mean, they won a couple of races, I think. They definitely won the first race, but I don't think they won the tag. Got a few podiums with Charles Leclerc. And now coming down. Instead, we've got the other Honda-powered car there, with the Alpha Tauri right behind as well. So the Ferraris are starting to go actually a little bit backwards now. Continuing to watch the human highlight reel of this race, that is Mick Schumacher. He's now coming up behind. He's past his German countryman. Now he's going to try and pass one of the German cars. You know, it's a line. Williams versus Mercedes. It's almost like it's the battle from the last few years all over again. I mean, it's for a position that they've become more accustomed to over recent years in very, very different circumstances. And Russell side by side with Mick Schumacher, and Schumi going to dive at the side, and Schumi makes it pass as well. But now then, does he still have the DRS? I think Russell might have the DRS. I mean, it depends whether the detection line was. And Russell there actually does have the DRS to try and go back. And yeah, he's going to be out with a bit of switching. I imagine the AMG Mercedes engine turned up to 11 there as well. But Schumi there going to hug the inside line, going to force Russell out the long way around. And then the corner exit. Russell's got DRS again, but he had to take a compromise line there to take a wider line out of the corners. That's going to lose in time. And Russell there has to concede defeat to the 2019 and defending world champion Mick Schumacher. Anyway, oh yeah, by the way, Schumi, he's not done making overtakes yet. He's got past one Merc, and he's going to try and get past the other. Kvyat goes very, very defensive to the inside line. So Schumi is going to park it around the outside line. He's going to get the power down as well. And keep his side by side, still going to keep his nose in the inside line, just about getting the line. Kvyat couldn't move across, otherwise he would have taken himself out of the race. And still keeping his side by side now with the Russian. Now Schumi trying to go around the outside line here of Danny Kvyat. And watch out, Leclerc. Kvyat isn't someone you just drive around, but in this race, Kvyat is just someone you drive around. And he's got the DRS, but he had a poor exit out of the final corner. But Kvyat's going to try and come back into turn one. There's not quite close, so let's try and make a move. Although he's going to have this next straight, let's try and make it a comeback move. And actually, no, he hasn't even got a DRS, so it can't be. Actually, neither is Schumi. They must have gone through it side by side then. The two of them must have been dead even. They couldn't make even either way. And just when he thought he was done, who thought Schumi was done making overtakes? He's got Lando Norris to try and make a move on now. And now then, you've got two long-standing British outfits now going at it, Williams and McLaren. They've been here for around about the same amount of time actually, so they've gotten to know each other fairly well over these. Of course, they had their first share of championship battles as well. But now they're all back for a different championship position this year. Now, side by side, once again, you've got Mick Schumacher just going to breeze past the McLaren. And now he's trying to do anything to try and fight back, trying to hide around the outside line. Schumi hugs the apex. So actually, now you've got the Mercs going side by side. Now you've got Russell. It's enough for following Kvyat now. He's going to try and make a move. I mean, with the limited TD time Mercedes have got this year, this is a really chance for Russell to prove why he should stay at the team for next year. Because there's a few drivers and a few teams that haven't got contracts confirmed yet for next year, and Russell is one of those drivers who hasn't got a contract at the minute at Mercedes for next year, although I imagine they will get confirmed at some point this season. Keep it through there, and Kvyat there just squeezes its way through. Although they did look fairly easy there, so maybe a few team orders did come into play there, just tell Russell to back off and give the place to Kvyat. We've only got one lap of this race. Only one lap of this race left to go. Although more I should say, we've got one lap of this race left to go, and I'm in 14th place. I've not been able to... I don't know what Shimmy's had for breakfast. I don't know what he's done to that Williams car. We're going to go for a massive time though! When it's on the camera, we go from we know we barge our way past. We barge our way past. And we made the mistake, although we didn't even get a penalty or anything for that, so we just managed to catch the Seti camera napping there. So I should say actually a bit of a rough move there, a bit of a robust move, but when you're battling for a championship, when you're in 14th place, you've got to do anything again. Oh no, Harry, don't tell me out, don't tell me out, but coming up front though, we've got Max Verstappen, still leading the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen's got one corner to go, Shimmy, you got Hamilton there right on the back of him now. You got what's that going to be now, coming up to the line, Max Verstappen wins! He wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. Red Bull finally get back on track. Their first victory of 2020. This started the season nowhere. I think they had about, 20 points after the first 3 or 4 races. And now Verstappen is just taken like 25 points from this one race meeting. And we got our teammate K Knight there just holding onto a podium place. Which is, well, it's going to be joining one-sided Alfa Romeo camp. And for us, it's going to be 13th place at best. We've still got Harry bonus. We've got half a front wing as well, so we're going to be fast in actually, we're going to be pretty fast in a straight line around this final corner. But we actually need to get around this final corner first, because the side of wing damage on which are left actually happens on the right. We're coming up to the line. It's going to be a P13 finish, our lowest finish. I mean, when we actually finished the race, our lowest classified finish this season, 13th place. Yeah, I was expecting a struggle this weekend, but I wasn't ready for that. I don't think anyone Alfa Romeo is ready for that, but Christian Horner definitely would have been ready for Red Bull finally breaking their bad luck and bad performance curse for this year. And Verstappen, the Dutchman, finally gets back on the top step of the podium. He's been building on his momentum each year. And back when Kvyat was there, Verstappen did have to play the number 2 role, but now he can be the number 1. He's really flourishing into that team. Pierre Gasly, 18th place. I mean, though, the two-star strategy really wasn't the way to go around the circuit. And in the car that he was in, it did kind of get ruined from the beginning for him, really. And Verstappen on the top step of the podium, where he's going to feel like it has been an absolute age, really, since Red Bull got there on the top step. And we've got Hamilton there in P2. Actually, it was Hulkenberg in P3. I didn't see that. So Hulkenberg then must have dropped down to 4th here, but Hulkenberg somehow there managed to slip onto the podium. So GG to him. Didn't actually see him do it, but he got his all that matters. And once again, get some consistent points there for Renault. Taking a look at the end results, and Max Verstappen, after 50 minutes of racing, takes the maximum nearly points available. Didn't get the point fastest lap. He gets to 25, with Hamilton in 2nd and Hulkenberg riding off the podium in 3rd. K-Mag comes home in 4th, just heading off Matsushita. He takes the point for fastest lap, with Alex Albon P6 in the Red Bull. Human highlight reel, Mick Schumacher finishes in 7th place, and once you go ahead of Norris, has pretty much just consolidated that. And we've got Russell in 9th place, who in the end does beat Daniel Kvyat, although just so. I mean, yeah, I imagine in the end Russell was allowed past. I don't really know what was going on there earlier in the race. Then we got the 2 Ferraris of Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel getting, I think, their first double top 12, because everyone gets points, so it's not a double point per se, finishing in 11th and 12th. We finished in 13th, which normally wouldn't be points, but it is today, so thankfully this is a wildcard point race. And we just hold off Harry Antonio 14th. I mean, as Sergio Sete camera should have finished 13th, but we barged him out of the way, honestly. Jean-Luc Verne, Jev had a nightmare, finishing in 16th. With Perez in 17th, and Aston Martin ahead, as you saw, of Pierre Gasly. With Lawrence Stroll, the last of the finishes, over a minute off the pace in the end. And Nicholas Latifi in last place, but because it's a wildcard race, even though he did about 5 miles, he still gets a point for his efforts. Now moving on to the drivers' point standings, and Hamilton extends his championship lead now. It's over 2 race wins of normal points clear, 42 points. Whereas Russell's now, we still hold on to 2nd place, but Massachusetts though just closes the gap. He's now only 16 points behind us. Here come the 2 Renaults, 4th and 5th. with Hulkenberg 24 points clear of Jean-Eric Verne, with Kevin Magnussen in 6th place, looking pretty secure. Ahead then of the Red Bull pairing of Verstappen and Albon on 87 and 75. Kvyat in 9th place on 71 points, now 3 points clear of defending world champion Mick Schumacher. After this result, gets back ahead of his Williams teammate Nicholas Latifi, and now to 13-point advantage over the Canadian, with Sebastian Vettel running off the top 12 for Ferrari with 48 points. And since it's a wildcard race, you get a look at the bottom half of the standings as well, with Rio Haranto in 13th place, and second of the McLarens on 43, 2 points clear now of George Russell, he moves up to 14th. Perez drops down to 15th place on 36 points, and is now only 1 point clear of Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc gets up into 17th place on 32 points, 3 points clear now of Sergio Sette-Camara. And Gasly in 19th place with half the points of his teammate on 15, 2 points clear of Lance Stroll, who brings up the standings in 20th place with 13 points. And now on to the constructor standings. And Toyota lead the way, nearly 100 points clear once again now of Alfa Romeo in second. Although we do pull away a little bit though from Renault, so we... It's not really wanting to do it, but we increased... Well, the team got their objective complete, pull away a little bit more from Renault once the race was over. And with a very good result, it looks like Red Bull now might be secure in our 4th place. I mean, they're 100 points behind Renault, and they're 40 points clear of Williams, so it's like the fight now is for 5th place with Williams, and we've got Mercedes just behind them as well, only 11 points off. In the fight for 5th place then we've got the fight for 7th, with Ferrari on 80 points, McLaren on 78, and if they can keep getting their act together, like AlphaTauri showed today, then Aston Martin and AlphaTauri could get into that fight as well. We've still got quite a gap to close. They've both got to double their points tally in the remaining 7 races. So remember to vote for your driver of the day with the poll link that'll be in the video description. Also down there in the description as well, we link to the wiki here for this season, which is, I'm pretty sure you know what a wiki is, it's basically just fandom Wikipedia stuff, which I've made myself, and made one for every season, every team, every driver, past, present, and you know what, maybe even a sneak peek of what's to come up in the future as well. So I edit it after every single race, and without making everyone myself, it takes a lot of time, and has taken a lot of total time as well, so I'd appreciate it if you could go give that a read, give that a little bit of a look. You meant to leave a like if you enjoyed the video as well. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the race. Subscribe if you're new and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. If you can give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram, that'll also be much appreciated. There'll be links also down below in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.